Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about something called composite figures or composite shapes. Composite means composed, so composite means that it's composed of different parts. Okay, so it's a composition of multiple shapes. So this is our first shape that we're going to look at. You can see that there's kind of two things going on here. We've got sort of this this rectangular shape going on right over here. So this part right over here is kind of the rectangular portion of it. Yes. Okay, and then the other portion here is the sort of the semicircle right over here that I'm going to sort of scribble in red. So we've kind of got two things going on here. We've got this blue rectangle and we've got this red semicircle. I call it a semicircle because it is part of a circle, about half of a circle. In fact, I would go as far to say that that is exactly half of a circle. So what we're going to do is we're going to split this problem up into two parts. The first part that I'm going to deal with is the blue rectangle. So the area of the rectangle, or the blue area, well, that shouldn't be too difficult to calculate, right? So rectangles are fairly straightforward when it comes to calculating their area. All we have to do is do length times width. So the area of this part is 5 inches times 12 inches, and that will be equal to, well, 5 times 12 is 60, so we've got 60 inches squared. And that's it. Really, that's all there is to this blue area. Let's take a look at this red area over here. Maybe it's pink, it's hard to tell. So the pink area, or the red area, that's going to be, well, we can see that there's a circle going on, but it's not a full circle. So this is half of a circle. This is exactly 1/2 of a circle. So what we're going to do to calculate its area is take 1/2 of the area of that circle. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to determine what is the radius. So the radius of this red circle is going to be, well, the distance from this center point out to the edge. And I know that this whole thing, so the entire diameter, the diameter of this semicircle is going to be 5 inches, right? So the radius is going to be 1/2 of that 5 inches. So 1/2 of 5 is equal to 2.5. So that's the radius. The radius is 2.5 inches. So I should also write inches here, right? Because it's half of 5 inches and half of 5 is 2.5. So our radius is 2.5 inches. Okay, so let's calculate the area of this semicircle. Well, the area of the whole circle would be pi times r squared, right? But we're not calculating the area of a full circle, right? Oops, let's go ahead and do this. We're not calculating the area of a full circle, right? It's actually just that half of a circle. So we are going to cut that in half. So that'll be 1/2 times pi times r squared. So the area that we want is going to be equal to 1/2 times 3.14 times 2.5 squared. So 2.5 squared. So I'm going to start off by calculating this portion right here, the 2.5 squared. So I'll get my handy dandy calculator. So there's a number from the last equation. So I've got 2.5 times 2.5. That's equal to 6.25. So let's write that down. I've got 6.25 over here. So this is equal to 1/2. Oops. That's equal to 1/2. Something's going on here. There we go. This is equal to 1/2 times 3.14 times 6.25. Now all I have to do is just multiply all of these numbers together. So I'm going to start off by multiplying these two numbers together, and then I'm going to divide it by. Okie dokie, let's do this next question. Really similar type of question, but you'll notice that the math is going to be a little bit different. So the the concept is the same, but we'll be using different formulas. Okay, so again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this up into two shapes that I know how to calculate the area of. So I know how to calculate the area of this triangle. So this is one portion that I'm going to look at. So this triangle is going to be one part, and the other part is the semicircle. So that half circle that's right over here. So this is the other part. So I didn't really get it very close. Let's try that again. So this semicircle is the other portion. There we go. It's a little bit better. Yeah, good enough. So those are the two parts that we're going to focus on. So let's start off with the semicircle. Okay. So this is a semicircle, which means that it's half of a circle. So the formula that I'm going to use is 1/2 times pi r squared. Because the formula for a circle is pi r squared, but the thing is, this is half of a circle, right? This isn't the full circle, it's only half of it. So we're going to take whatever value that is, and we're going to cut it in half. So it'll be 1/2 times pi times r squared. Okay, so that's the first part that we're going to do. The second part, which is the purple stuff, is, well, that's going to be a triangle. I know that the base is a 6 yards, and the height is a 4 yards. So again, we're going to do 1/2 times base times height, because that is the formula for calculating the area of a triangle. So let's go back to red, and let's do the semicircle over here. So I need to first figure out what is that radius. Well, the radius is going to be the distance from the center of the circle to the edge. And I know from this edge to this edge, it's 6. So the radius is going to be 1/2 of 6. And 1/2 of 6 is equal to 3, right? So the radius is just half of 6, because 6 is the diameter. So it should also include the units that we're using, which are yards. We don't really use yards that much in Canada, unless you're a football player. But if you didn't know, a yard is, I believe it's 3 feet. So let's carry on. So we know that the radius of this semicircle is 3 yards. So let's plug it in. So this is going to be equal to 1/2 times 3.14 times r squared. So r squared will be 3 yards squared. So 3 yards squared will be, well, 3 times 3 is 9. So that'll be 9 square yards. Okay. So let's punch this all in. So that should be ERYD. There we go. So let's use our calculator. I know that 9 times 3.14 is the first thing that I do. So 9 times 3.14, that's equal to 28.26. And remember, I'm going to cut that in half. So I'll do all that divided by 2. That's equal to 14.13. So let's write that down. So this is equal to, oops. This is equal to, something's going on here. Equal to 14.13. Excellent. Okay, so that is the area of the semicircle. So we've got this portion taken care of. Now we are going to be doing this next part. So this is a straight calculation. We don't have to cut it in half or anything, because we're just calculating this area of a plain old triangle. So let's finish this off. This is going to be 1/2 times, well, the base is 6 yards. So we've got 6 yards times 4 yards, and that's all going to be yards squared, because that's the unit that we deal with area. So I can do this in my head. I know that 6 times 4 is 24, and 24 divided by